Hello. Autogar. Good morning, guys. Hope you're having an amazing day. It is Ping here. I am currently at the Ottogar of Istanbul, which is also known as a bus station. And today, unfortunately, we are leaving Istanbul. We're going to a city known as Çanakkale, and I'm very excited to show you guys the city. The bus ticket from Istanbul to Çanakkale cost 105 liras. A bit on the pricey side, but there's no other option. It's currently 6:09 a.m. The bus leaves at 7, so we've got an hour to kill. We're just gonna relax at the Ottogar. We've just gotten onto the bus, and this is probably one of the best buses I've ever been on. It's so beautiful. There's TV screens. It's literally like an airplane almost. Just really, really impressive. 4 hours later, we have made it to the city of Çanakkale. This is a city that is super historical, not only because this place used to be the city of Troy, but also because the battlefields of Gallipoli are just across the Dardanelles right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see if we can rent a motorcycle. If we can't, we will have to figure out a plan B. But let's go start exploring this beautiful city. Okay, so if you want to rent a motorcycle here in Çanakkale, the best place to do it is right here on the coastline, right next to the ferry port. There are a couple motorcycles. You just call the number and then they will come and help you. But while we're waiting for the guys to show up, I've decided that we aren't going to visit the city of Troy, and the reason is because I've heard that the ruins aren't very well preserved. So we're gonna give it a skip. Instead, we are gonna take a ferry over to Gallipoli, and we're gonna visit all the battlefields there so we can spend more time over there. Once we get the motorcycle, we're gonna take a ferry over, and I'll see you guys in Gallipoli. Hello. Rent a motorcycle. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Yes. We've gotten our motorcycle for the day. It cost 100 liras for one day. We are currently on the ferry crossing the Dardanelles. Wow, I could not be more excited to explore one of the places that I have been dreaming about for so many years, the Peninsula of Gallipoli. This is gonna be quite the experience today. We've just made it across the Dardanelles, and we've come to a town known as Kilit Bahir. And the main thing to see here isn't anything to do with the Battle of Gallipoli, but it's more of an abandoned castle. I'm not sure exactly the history behind it. I'm not sure why it's here, but let's just go check it out. So Kilit Bahir Castle was built during the Ottoman era. After the capture of Istanbul, the Sultan wanted to make sure that the narrowest point in the Dardanelles was protected so that anyone attacking Istanbul would have to go through these two forts. So this is one of the forts on one side of the Dardanelles, and it is this massive clover-shaped Ottoman fort. You can still see all the remains of all the rocks and even some of the pots. They even had an olive oil making factory inside the castle. The museum does an amazing job of showing what life was like within the castle, and just everything is so well preserved. It's really impressive what they've done with this castle, and I wish I could fly my drone, but there are a couple security guards here, so probably not here, but maybe we'll fly it somewhere else in Gallipoli. There's literally no one here at the castle today. I mean, it is a Thursday afternoon, so probably that's why, but I think COVID also has something to do with it. But literally nobody here. I have the entire castle to myself. Wow, what a beautiful way to start exploring Gallipoli Peninsula. Now when people think about Gallipoli, they usually think of the beaches of Gallipoli, the place where British troops landed and were often massacred when they first arrived. This is Gallipoli Beach. It's on the western coast of the Gallipoli Peninsula, and today it's a quiet park. People are swimming, they're enjoying the sun. But I mean, over a century ago, this was a battleground. This was where British troops were landing and being attacked by machine gun fire from the Ottomans. So it's really interesting to see that contrast between a war zone and now just this peaceful, quiet park. Gallipoli Park was raided by British troops in 1915, but their raid failed just like most of the attacks on Gallipoli Peninsula. The Ottomans held on to this beach, and yeah, just like the entire peninsula, the Ottomans won. So this is just one of the many battle sites you can see here in Gallipoli, but this is just our first one for today. Hello. Oh. Now there's some bad news today. One of the most famous beaches here in Gallipoli is Anzac Cove. It was a beach where Australian, New Zealand, and other troops landed to try and fight the Ottomans. But unfortunately, Anzac Cove is closed today. And the reason is because there was recently a landslide. So the entire road, the path, it's all blocked off, so we can't see Anzac Cove. I'm gonna try my best and see if I can fly my drone over there, but no guarantees. Now it's one thing to visit the beaches of Gallipoli, but to really understand how the Battle of Gallipoli went down, there is a beautiful, informative museum right here on the peninsula to help guide your tour here. Let's go check out what's inside. If you know absolutely nothing about Gallipoli and the Gallipoli campaign, this is a perfect museum for you. It describes everything. It talks about World War I, why they had to attack the Dardanelles. The price for the museum is 8 liras, and they also have like a cinema sort of video inside, but the cinema movie is only in Turkish, so I didn't feel like paying 20 liras for a movie I couldn't understand. So if you don't speak Turkish, just check out the museum. It's 8 liras and you can get a pretty good understanding of what happened here in Gallipoli. 2 Turkish lira. 2. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. What I love about getting out of major cities is that everything becomes cheaper. In downtown Istanbul, even if you went to the local neighborhoods, a bottle of water, 1.5 liters, costs you about 2.5 liras. Here it's just 2 liras. Everything just gets cheaper as we go. Now, no visit to a battlefield or battle site is complete without visiting the places where people are buried and the martyrs. So we've come to a place here known as Sargi Yeri Sehitlisi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but I will put it up on the text here. I can't read any of the text here. I don't understand what it says, and there's no English translation. So I can only assume that it's a place where they buried a lot of Ottoman soldiers, and yeah, that's the best I got for you. Based on my very basic understanding of Turkish, the signs on each of these tombstones has 3 lines. So I think the first line refers to a location in Turkey. So whether it's Istanbul or whether it's Fethiye or Konya or whatever the place is where the soldier originated from, that's the first line. The second line is the soldier's name. And then the third line, if I'm correct, is the age of the soldier that they died. So whether it's 29 years old, 35 years old. That's just my assumption. I could be completely wrong. And if I am, feel free to comment down below. Even decades later, you can still see the remnants of the trenches and the war and how it has shaped the geography of Gallipoli. Literally right here, the trenches are still very, very clearly evident. One side Ottoman, one side Anzac and British troops. Right next to the cemetery is this giant statue of an Ottoman soldier with the rifle in hand. There's a dagger in another with his boots and his full uniform. Wow, just such a beautiful, quiet place. There's literally no one else here except for some birds that are making some noise. Other than that, it's just me, the Turkish flag, and one of the biggest soldier statues I've ever seen. This right here is another super important beach here in Turkey. This is X Beach. Left you smiling. My past is holding on. So when the Brits tried to attack Gallipoli Peninsula, they had 5 landing points, and one of them was this point right here. This is X Beach. It's so quiet. It's really stunningly gorgeous. And if you didn't know about the history, you'd probably think this is a great place to come and relax with some friends and, you know, have a picnic. And that's definitely true still today. But the history behind this place, this was a place where British soldiers were literally massacred upon arrival on the beaches. Today it's still a really beautiful beach. It is definitely an amazing place to go for sunset. I mean, you can park your motorcycle here, have some beers. This would be the perfect place, but we've still got some other places to visit. You can really understand why the Brits suffered so badly, because right behind me, you can see the cliffs. So the Ottoman soldiers would be up on top, and as long as the British soldiers tried to land on the beach, they will be fired at from the top, and they couldn't do anything about it. You know, you can only see that when you come here and understand the geography of Gallipoli Peninsula and how the Ottomans used the geography to their advantage. We've now come to one of the most important sites here in Gallipoli. We are just at the southernmost point of Gallipoli. This is V Beach. Earlier, if you remember, we went to X Beach, there's a Y Beach, and this is V Beach. It's so important because so many British soldiers landed here and died because of the heavy machine gun fire from the trenches, which, if you can see, are literally right here. And the Ottomans were waiting for the British soldiers. They were just standing here with their machine guns ready to fire. It was a suicide mission from the start. It gives you a view of how important Gallipoli is. As you can see, all the water connecting into the Dardanelles. And you can also see how the Ottomans, once again, utilized the geography of the peninsula to their advantage to attack the British troops. We are just at the top of the mountain right now where the Ottomans were. Later, we're gonna go down to the bottom and see where the beach is. I'll see you guys when we're down there. Made it to the beach. This is probably one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever had, but we need to start heading back before the sun actually sets because I don't want to have to be navigating Gallipoli Peninsula at night. That's gonna be a disaster, so let's go.